Lauren Campbell from Firefly, Chief Marketing Officer, here in Austin for the running event. Why is Firefly here? Tell us about the journey to Austin.
The journey to Austin. So Firefly is an innovative technology that helps athletes recover faster, and runners have been one of the early adopters for this technology. And we're here to connect with more people, help expand word of mouth, and find new athletes to adopt Firefly.
I'm a runner. I told you off camera I have an injury. I got really excited. I perked up. So I'm curious. Tell me more about the product. Like when you say recover faster.
Yes.
I'm dealing with an injury. How is this thing going to help me?
So we're definitely our primary focus is on keeping you healthy and recovered, and the way we do that is by increasing blood flow. So it's hard to believe, but this little device really functions similarly to sequential compression or big compression boots. The purpose there is moving blood in your body, getting fresh blood and oxygen to move through your body, helps your body heal and recover faster. And so the way we do that is there are small electrodes here. We're stimulating the peroneal nerve, which makes, a lot of people look at this and say, oh, is that a TENS unit? The way we're different is we're very focused on increasing blood flow, and we're doing that by stimulating the peroneal nerve.
When I was an athlete in college, I remember sitting on the table. I was hooked up to the stim machine. You
Yes.
get the little electrode current through you. Is that similar to what this does, or I'm trying to think of layman's terms and as just
exactly. The
dumb
easiest
runner.
way I can explain it is we look like electrostim and we function like compression. So we are using an electrical stim current, but in that example you gave, you were really directly targeting a muscle group, and what we're doing is giving you a systemic increase in circulation to help a wide range, your whole body, recover faster by getting fresh blood and oxygen.
Disclaimer, I got to try this a little bit before we did this, so I was excited. And what I learned, and correct me if I'm wrong, the placement of this is the same regardless of what I'm experiencing to get that blood flow where we put it on the leg. Regardless of anything I'm dealing with, that's where that will be located and help stimulate that
So
flow.
that nerve that we're referencing, the peroneal nerve, really does run from your hip all the way to your toe. And what we're doing is we're activating your foot to function almost like a pump. So once per second, this little electric charge will happen and will make your foot, like what we did before, make this movement. And that movement is going to push blood from your feet all the way back up to your heart. So you truly, whether it's something that you're, in your feet, in your calf, in your Achilles, knee, hip, quad, wherever, I think that's one thing that people will see this sometimes and it sits right below your knee and they'll say, oh, I don't need something for my knee. I need something for, this other body part. And this really will help that part by having the blood get pushed from your feet all the way back up.
I'm curious about the development of this because it's, again, as someone that's dealt with injury, typically you're going to a training room, you're going to a specialist, you're going to a physical location, sitting there for, 30 minutes to an hour and getting the treatment. This is something that's portable on the go.
Recover anywhere.
I'm like, whoa, mind blown, right?
Mind blown.
So I'm curious about the development of this. How long has the product been around? How did it get to where it is today?
Absolutely. So the product was developed in the UK by a medical technology company that really was trying to address a different problem, which is post-surgery blood clots. And so increasing blood flow helps to avoid blood clots. And so if you've ever had surgery, they put on those little squeezers, leg squeezers, and those also do the same function, but those have to be unplugged when you're taken for tests or if you're using the restroom or different things. So then there's a lack of adoption sometimes when they don't get put back on. So they thought, well, if we could create a portable device that could stay with the patient, that would, resolve this issue. So that's the background. This is made by a medical technology company. We have clinical backing and studies that show exactly how this works, and they're posted on our website. And so from there, they wanted to see, would this have the same impact by increasing blood flow on athletes? And they tested it with rugby players in the UK, and they were able to really measure things like creatine kinase levels and other markers in the blood that show your recovery, and be able to assess that a high-level athlete often takes 72 hours to fully recover, but yet they never take 72 hours to recover, right? So you have this like
Back at it.
this problem, and that's why they're not necessarily always feeling their freshest, especially at crunch time when you're like in tournaments or at the end of the season, right? You're sort of like dragging your way there. And so by allowing them to recover anywhere, to your point, whether that's outside the training room with student athletes, they could do it in class or on the bus. With professional athletes, they're doing it on the plane or, you know, wherever they want. It enables a higher adoption level because of the ease of being able to have that portability and flexibility with the product.
That's wild. Well, yeah, what kind of use have you seen? Like, what's the most portable and wild use you've seen of people on the go with this thing?
In terms of like what they do with it?
Yeah, like are people like going through their workday, or most people sitting and relaxing?
We have been so fortunate. We have an amazing community that do send us videos and, I mean, great examples of how they use it. So regular use would be, like I mentioned, wearing it to class, walking the dog, cooking dinner, those types of sort of more typical. But yes, we've had, you know, very professional people pull up the suit leg and show us that. We get a lot of questions like, can I wear this during, you know, while I swim or work out? And that's one thing that we don't recommend. Mm-hmm. This is really pre and post, and then the next part is travel has become a very huge part of use for athletes and everyday individuals.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the compression, you know, thinking about traveling, people wear the compression socks. Like, this is something potentially on an airplane, put these on, helps that circulation.
Absolutely. I mean, that's something that we work with pro athletes, runners, you know, Galen Rupp, who's an Olympic marathoner. We were fortunate to meet with him, and he mentioned that oftentimes he would get off the plane, his legs would feel heavy. When you're seated, you're not getting circulation. And then when you also change altitudes, that puts additional strain on the body. And so being able to keep your blood flowing while you're seated is a huge benefit, and you can actually get off the plane, feel fresh. And so going back to Galen, he actually would say that when he would use this on a flight, he could get off the flight and go for a run versus needing 2 days to get back his legs without it.
Yeah, that's wild.
And one other thing I will mention about the product is that it basically simulates about 2/3 of the benefit of walking. So if you are seated at a desk or on a plane, you're getting kind of 2/3 of the benefit that you would get of blood flow and circulation as if you were walking, and that's why you don't get that dead leg feeling.
Interesting. That's not saying we should stop walking, though, right? Like,
That's up to you.